welcome to my guide to making an invisible star collector in Terraria 1.4. So, star collectors are pretty common. They've been around for quite a while. Ever since Hoiks have been around, star collectors have been around. But with 1.4, things have changed a little bit. And I'll explain a bit when I start making the star collector here in a second. But I've just decided to go back to the world that I used to make the gnome farm. So we'll start from the top of the tree here. So things to know when making a star farm in Terraria are stars will only spawn in the top 5% of the world. So for small worlds, that's the top 60 tiles of the world. For medium worlds, that's 90 tiles, and for large worlds, that's 120 tiles. So you can build your star collector above those limits. However, you'll collect less stars because you'll miss some of the stars that will spawn under the star collector. So first thing you need if you want to make an invisible star collector are the echo blocks, and these are obtained from the cyborg. So you'll know something very special about these blocks is that they do not appear here. So they are invisible, which makes them great for making things like star collectors, because a lot of the times they'll be kind of ugly and you don't really want to see them. So them not being visible is kind of nice. You'll also want to buy the Spectre goggles, again from the cyborg. That way you'll be able to see what you're building here. So first thing you'll want to do is have 2 layers of blocks like this. And I'd recommend also having some way to increase your block placement speed, like Builder Potion, for example, along with something like an Ink Shield or a Cobalt Shield, so you don't keep getting knocked around by enemies, which can be kind of annoying. Also, if you're building this farm in hard mode, it gets even more annoying because you have to deal with things like wyverns. On my master mode world, I think I was getting attacked. I think I had a full stack of Souls of Flight, so that was over 999 Souls of Flight because I killed so many wyverns building the thing. So if you're building this on a master mode world or just in hard mode in general, you'll want a bunch of summons around you so you don't get killed by whatever's attacking you. So and you can see how much faster that is with the Builder Potion there active. And I'll get even faster if I have the Gizmo pack in there too. There we go. Then you'll need some kind of hammer. I've just got a Stardust ham axe here. And then you'll want to start hammering them. So if you're building from the right side of the map to the center, like I am right here, you'll want them all to be like this orientation for the Hoik. And if you haven't seen my last video utilizing Hoiks, you can check that out. Also, I'll link to the Terraria wiki so you can see what Hoiks are. They're very useful. They're like pipes, essentially, for anything in Terraria. They can pipe mobs, they can pipe players, they can pipe stars, they can pipe pretty much anything you need. There are exceptions to this, like a lot of bosses aren't affected by it. But you can do some pretty amazing things with Hoiks. So you can see how long this is taking even just for this small section right here. So what I did with my one in my master mode world is I set up a macro with my mouse, and then I just kind of sat there reading a book for 20 minutes while my guy was hammering on the echo blocks here. And if you want to do the whole world, you are going to need 8,230 blocks to span the whole world, and double that for large worlds. So it can be pretty expensive. I've calculated it out and found with all the materials it would be around 20 platinum just for a small world, because you also have to factor in the need for wires and the need for actuators as well, which we are going to use extensively here. So this is the basic setup if you're going, if you want the stars to go left and you're on the right side of the world, right from the center of the world. And if you're on the left side of the world, you want the stars to go right. So the orientation for that I'll show on the other side here. So for that orientation, it'll be just the opposite. Instead, you'll want the stars to go from left to right. And it would just be that pattern repeated throughout. I'm not going to do it anymore. You'll also need the grand design just for placing wire and placing actuators. So you'll want to use 2 different color wires. It doesn't really matter what colors. We'll just use red here. And then we'll want another color for the bottom. So use green. Oh. Alright, we got that finished. So now we just need to place some actuators here. Alright, so we've placed the actuators. Just show you how that's going to go. And you can see how I've placed a different row for each one. So this is so during the day you can move between them. It should also have green one there. And then this way, during the day, you can turn it off so you can fly through it if you need to be doing stuff in the air. And then at night, this portion actuates. So you can see it's not pushing me because I'm too big, but it will push the stars because they're smaller. So we'll get back to a completed version of the farm so you can see the whole thing in action. This was just to show you how to build it. So you'll want to replicate this setup for the right side from the center of the world going left, and then you'll want to have this orientation for the left side of the world from the center going to the right. And we'll be back in a bit. Alright, we are back, and you can see my completed star collector here. Just to kind of give you an idea of how far it goes out. We'll go out to the ocean here. So this is all the way to the left side of the map, and this is all the way to the right side of the map. And then give you an idea of some other little things I've done. So I've had it so that they'll shoot up all the way up here, and then this hoik will take them all the way down, and they'll collect in this little reservoir here, and then I have a sensor set up here that will sense when I'm there and open the reservoir, and then the stars will come down. So I can have them collecting throughout the night, and then I can just teleport back and get all the stars. Alright. All that. One other thing I want to note was you can see I've actuated these and they're blinking and the timer setup and everything, and you might be wondering if you've built this setup before why I'm doing that. And it's because with 1.4 it broke how stars were collected by hoiks. It used to be that you could use unactuated blocks and they'd enter the unactuated blocks and just zoom up, but now you have to have them be actuated so they can enter into the hoik and get sent along the hoik, which makes it less efficient. It's still much faster than a conveyor belt, for example. But that's just me explaining why you need to have them actuated. It's so that the stars can enter the hoik initially and get pulled along. Alright, thank you for watching. And one question somebody had for me on my last video was, I think, the most significant or important moment of my life, and that was probably graduating high school, which might sound a little cliche, but I had a pretty rough time in high school, and once it was over, it was kind of like a door opened, and I had the rest of my life ahead of me, and I could do whatever I really wanted to do.